I grew up in Nebraska, where we have the beliefs that the government should stay out of our business, especially healthcare. I also had the belief that criminals should be punished to the fullest extent of the law, and I had the belief that the poor just are lazy and they don't want to work. I remember writing a letter to our congressman, or Senator Ben Nelson, and I said in that letter that I was disappointed that he voted for the Affordable Health Care Act, commonly known as the Obama bill. And he sent me a letter back saying that he thought it was the best for our country and even the best for Nebraska. And I took that to heart. And so I've changed my mind on things. Other things that changed my perspective on that were me and my wife. We were just about to have our first child. And we had to have COBRA coverage that cost us over $1,000 a month. And after we spent those $4,000 for that COBRA coverage, we would only charge $2,000 more if we wouldn't have had any insurance at all. There's something broke with that. Me and my wife, we also stay very healthy. We eat well, and our children eat well. We go to the doctor not very often. But yet, I pay 1/4 of my yearly salary in healthcare and insurance premiums. Most of us, like me and my wife, and even most of the people in our situation, I would say I'm pretty average. We're all just one diagnosis away from bankruptcy and the poorhouse. And that brings me to poor. Am I lazy because I'm poor? I moved to a community where there was more poor people than there was anything else. I had a good job at the time, and I never really thought about it. But then I lost my job. And I became one of those poor. And I had to take jobs to make ends meet. And most of them were just above minimum wage. I was working, and I was struggling to get by, and I was poor. And most everybody that I knew around me was working just as hard as I was. And it was a desire to work hard, that we wanted to be good for our families. But we just didn't have the opportunities. I remember taking a job that was $2 more than minimum wage. But I had to drive 45 minutes to get there. And by the time I'd spent the gas, and by the time that I spent to get there, I was actually making less than minimum wage. Fortunately, I was able to move out of there with the help of my family. But there was 4 boys that lived there that I met and became very good friends with. They didn't have those same opportunities. Well, the goodness of me and my wife, we decided to move them in with us. Where they didn't have opportunities when they were poor, and most people were writing them off. And they even thought they'd become criminals. They've come here, they've made an impact on our society, they pay taxes, they've had a job. All they needed was opportunity, and they didn't become criminals. If they would have become criminals, once I believed that they should be punished to the fullest extent of the law, that there's no mercy for them, swift punishment, keep them in jail, keep them locked up, keep them away from society. One of the jobs I had in my life was I worked at a juvenile facility, correctional facility for boys. And I saw how we treated them there. They weren't treated very well. The company gave them barely enough to eat, cold breakfasts, cold eggs. We treated them like animals, and then we expected them to be human beings. If you treat somebody like an animal, they will be an animal. But if you treat somebody with respect and give them opportunities, like the poor, they will survive and they will thrive. I've changed my perspectives on many things, growing up very Republican and very conservative, and I've become more liberal. And I realized the left was right, because healthcare is out of hand. When I became poor, I had a different perspective. I knew people wanted to work hard. We need opportunity given to us. And criminals still need opportunities. So that's how I believe the left became right.